Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, Sigval here, and welcome back to another video, and welcome back to my secondary account. At this point, I do have on the secondary account kind of all the teams that would be required to have the best, not necessarily the best, but the most achievable free-to-play setup. So there's a few rules. I'm going to show you the fights with every single team that I'm going to talk about, but first let's get something out of the way. No pay-to-win artifacts are allowed. Any artifact that is not an artifact you can get by defeating the final boss of a soul raid is not going to be allowed. So only free soul raid artifacts are out. And Azure artifacts, so I don't think I'm going to use any of them. And rule number 2, I'm not going to include stuff that would take you too much to unlock for what it provides. For example, let me give you a quick example. I have here Manta and Mr. Freeze. None of them are going to be included here. In theory, they are great characters. However, you need them at a high star rating and you need their gears. Of course, Manta plus Raven for the free-to-play side of things is gonna be one of the best teams in the game, but that's gonna be far along the road. I'm going to try to show you something more achievable, and the only two actually, I think I'm going to put 3 legendary characters in this one, but none of them need gears to function. You're going to have Deathstroke at 3 stars. Raven, she's got 3 gears, and Zatanna, she's got the full gear set, but they are not that important. I played Raven for like 2 years without gears on this account. You don't really need them, though it's more convenient to have them. And yeah, all that being said, let's get into it. I'm going to use them against Heroic 7, the last contract, so here the bosses have as much health as they are going to ever have. Only problem is I don't necessarily have the best situation here to showcase them, so just keep in mind that in better situations, in more optimal situations, they are going to do better. Also, not gonna necessarily talk about them in a specific order because they perform differently in different situations, but just know that first of all, Battleman the Jaunt is going to be one of the strongest teams you're going to have. It's going to be either that or League of Anarchy plus Raven, though Battleman the Jaunt is so much easier than that team to get going and get geared up. I'm going to use God here because I don't feel like combo interrupting him. As far as Battleman the Jaunt goes, you have 3 choices for artifacts. The God Killer being the most convenient to use but the lowest damage. Then you have the Dark Null cards, being kind of the middle point between convenience and damage, and then you have Crown, which is the most inconvenient to use but the highest damage. Battleman the Jaunt is gonna be kind of the best character on this entire list in terms of how easy she is to get compared to the performance she provides. I wanna first get to super move, to passive activation before I do super move. I'm gonna do super move here. And yeah, as far as how you get her, she has a 250 gem cost chest that's going to have an 8% chance to drop her, so acquiring her should not be too hard. Next up, her gears. You might not have access to her gears as soon as you unlock her, but you will eventually because she's got a challenge where you can farm her shards, and that's also a way to grind her shards. Other than the chest, and you're going to get her gears eventually. Might take some time. For example, on my main account I still don't have all the 5 gears for her. Here I have all the 5 gears for her, though it doesn't make much of a difference. Kind of 3 gears is the sweet spot for most characters, because at that point you get all the percentage values that are necessary for her, and the rest would be attack or whatever, which doesn't really matter that much in Soul Raid because you get so much from the artifacts. Next up, the team setup here is going to be as budget as it gets. Ideally, you would want a Jon Stewart Green Lantern and Arkham Knight Batman, or a Batman who laughs in Arkham Knight Batman, or a Robin King in Arkham Knight Batman, though I don't really like that specifically. However, on the secondary account, I don't have most of these, so what I'm running is Jon Stewart Green Lantern and Classic Wonder Woman, which is a very effective setup. Just make sure you don't run Classic Wonder Woman if you're running Dark Null cards, because you're already reaching the 500% crit damage cap, so Classic Wonder Woman will not do much for you. And in these situations, when you got limited resources, what you can actually do is replace Classic Wonder Woman with Red Hood to extend the fight duration. And yeah, this team is gonna do more for you the higher star rating you have Battleman the Jaunt, the higher star rating you have Classic Wonder Woman and Jon Stewart Green Lantern, and the more passive stats you get from your artifacts. And as I said, this is the easiest to get and put together team compared to the performance it provides. Maybe Kinflan Sakomen would be an argument for that too. However, Kinga is a bit more specific, and we're going to get into that. But yeah, this one, well. Again, this is one of the strongest teams in the game. And 700 mil damage with God Killer. By the way, artifacts used here, because I should have mentioned that. Level 6 God Killer and level 4 God Killer. And in this specific fight, since the God Killer was equipped on the damage dealer, we can also slot a level 1 God Killer on this team. It's all for passive stats and for the God Killer effect. Never gonna use God Killer on a damage dealer in this video, so just a level 6 and level 4 God Killer. This, funny enough, might be as hard as the League of Anarchy to gear up, and don't rush this one, because this is definitely the bottom of the list out of all the teams I'm going to show. But nevertheless, kind of the 6th best team I have on the secondary account, and generally speaking, for a long time will be the 6th best team for you, the Batman Ninja team. Now, Batman Ninja, Catwoman, and Robin do have arena seasons, so you're going to be able to get them from there, no problem. However, the problem gets to the 3rd member and their gears. You do not need gears for Robin and Grodd. They are never going to see action in this team. They're just going to be there buffing your Batman Ninja Catwoman. That's all you need to know. Now, Grodd is going to have a chest that has a decent chance to drop him. I think it's a chest that he shares with Collector of Words Superman. And he has a whopping 8% chance to drop from there or something close to that. So getting Grodd is no longer that big of a problem. However, their gears are gonna be a bit of a problem because you... My bad here. You either wait for the gears to drop from League rates, which is going to take a long ass time, or you try to open the Batman Ninja gear chest. Now, the problem with the Batman Ninja gear chest is that it contains the gears for all the goddamn characters. So yeah, the gears might be a problem, but yet again, don't worry about it. This is literally the worst team out of the teams that I'm going to showcase. Now, as far as artifacts go, Batman Ninja team is going to do very well with Dark Metal cards, having by far the highest damage, or Puppet of Zatanna for convenience purposes and for league rates and low passive stat soul rates. Because the thing is, Puppet of Zatanna is going to give you a lot of base attack, but that base attack is going to eventually be overshadowed by your passive stats from the artifacts, right? So it's gonna be very strong early on, and it's gonna stay a very strong choice for convenience purposes, for example here where I don't want to struggle, but it's eventually going to be outscaled by the Dark Metal cards. But yeah, that's that. I couldn't really showcase a whole fight because I need to clean this up, but keep in mind this is the weakest team out of the ones that I'm going to showcase and kind of inconvenient to gear up, so it's a situation of if you already have them, use them. If you don't have them, try to get the rest of the stuff and use as a 6th-team server bench or something like that. Please don't click off the video yet, let me explain. I know we see 2 legendary characters over there and that's a problem. Black Adam is optional. If you have him, that's great. If you don't have him, don't worry about it too much. However, Deathstroke is going to be an amazing legendary character for the free-to-play side of things, because look at this man. 3 stars and no gears, only an artifact, nor a snow globe which you can get for free. Now, he does percentage health damage, which is going to be better the highest health the enemy has. This is not going to be the most useful thing early on when the enemies have like a few million health, but when they get to 2 billion health, you're going to see a Deathstroke that has no gears, 3 stars, and only a snow globe, dealing 1.4 billion damage. And yes, it's still a legendary character that you're going to struggle getting. It took me a long ass time to get it on my secondary account, but it was mostly because I was not really farming gems. And you equip the North Snow Globe artifact on him, and you're going to just go to town on the enemy and try to first deal percentage health damage with the base Deathstroke, and then you're going to go ahead and deal with the clones. Ideally, you want to tank super move with Deathstroke so that the clones are going to get stacked in an optimal scenario. And I messed up here because of the artifacts equipment. A big part of how well you're going to do with Deathstroke is balancing passive stats, because if you have too many passive stats, you are going to have too much health and you're going to take too long to die. And the clones are just not going to spawn. However, if you go for too low passive stats, then your clones are not gonna be effective. Here I equipped only a level 4 God Killer, but I think I overdone it with low artifact levels. With this clone we got lucky, but generally speaking you kind of want a bit more health on your clones. And if this man would be full health, you would obviously deal more damage. You want to keep the enemy in the corner, combo and chop them in use special 2. If you can't combo and chop, don't worry about it. You're gonna do fine with this team regardless, though it's gonna be a bit less optimal. A bit less damage, but still a very strong team. You want to keep the clone in for as much as possible, another special 2. And at this point, if I even try to combo and chop anymore, I'm gonna get killed. Okay, the second clone got tagged in. This is yet again not the most optimal tag for a clone because Deathstroke generates power. The clones don't. So what you want to do before you get the second clone tagged in, and before the first clone gets tagged in, make sure you're as juiced up on power generation as possible. We keep combo interrupting this man in the corner. Special 2 again. Combo interrupt again, our special 2. And yeah, yet again, if there's 2 billion health on the enemy, you're gonna deal anywhere around 1 billion damage to 1.4 billion damage with a 3-star Deathstroke, no gears. That's why I highly recommend you try and get Deathstroke. I know he's gonna be hard to get and he is a legendary character, but you do not need the gears. You do not need to worry about him after you unlock him. 3-star Deathstroke is all you need in your life. And yeah, as far as gameplay, this went well. As far as the health of the enemy, this also went well because you can see we dealt a percentage of it. We dealt roughly, let's say 70% of it or something close to that, which is great. Also, I kind of forgot to talk about the acquirement of Deathstroke. It's gonna be only from his legendary chest, and that can be definitely frustrating, but after you get him, you're not going to regret that. Again, he doesn't need gears. The only thing that he needs is levels to have this passive at as high level as possible. And trust me, you're gonna have fun with him. And as far as the team goes, you can go with absolutely whatever. You can put another percentage hull damage dealer in there, like Zatanna, Black Adam, Bitten Laughs, whatever you're not using with other teams. Or he can go solo. He's got more time for the clones that way, and he's gonna do fine. What's wrong with his fingers when you look from this angle, bro? That doesn't look okay. This fight is dumb. I'm not doing this because this is the most optimal thing to use here. I'm doing this because I want to showcase this thing. And I don't necessarily have something to clear this with without using too many resources. Again, you're not really bothered by that. Just keep in mind you're gonna use this team against a 2 billion health fight, and I'm going to go over on how you use it. First up, we have the League of Anarchy. You can go with Joker EPI, though it's gonna be a bit worse than Raven, than Harley EPI. And you might need a Raven, you might not. Eventually this team gets to a point, I'm not gonna play it properly for now because the fight would be over too soon and I want to talk a bit. But yeah, eventually this team, same as Batman the Drowned, will get to the points, and it has on my main account, for example, where they can do 2 billion damage even without Raven. So eventually you're going to cycle Raven out and use her with something else. Also, we might have a problem with tanking super move here. Though thankfully I think we're able to do this without Raven in case she dies. Nah, she's fine. Because this man disables metahuman gears and EPI might have died. But yeah, what you do is you stack with Raven, go all the way to 5 stacks, and then you go with Harley and you start stunning. Or you go with Joker and do a few basic hits. Joker you're going to most likely unlock earlier than you'd expect because his shards do drop from league rates. Again, I'm not playing this properly, don't pay too much attention to it yet. But yeah, Joker drops from league rates in terms of shards and gear drops. EPI drops gears from league rates, so you don't really need those that much. So you're most likely gonna have a Joker. You're going to get yourself an EPI and a Harley. Now, gears for Harley are going to be hard to acquire, and you need to get the League of Anarchy gear chest, but trust me, she is worth it. So do eventually chase for that, but for a while, Raven plus this team will do well for you. And eventually you're yet again gonna cycle out Raven and use them alone, and they're gonna do 2 billion damage. You're going to put Raven somewhere else. But for a longest time, this team equals guaranteed 2 billion damage, and that's gonna be something that your account is going to take great advantage of. By the way, for artifacts, just put passive stats on EPI and Raven, and for Harley, go for Dark Malcards usually. Crown also works, though I like Crown more when I'm using Harley without EPI. Also, if your Raven kind of dies, put a Nora Snow Globe on her so she gets healed every single time she uses the special, and you're going to be fine. Now you're going to see the full potential of the Nora Snow Globe King or Deathstroke. Keep in mind, Deathstroke would have performed just as well as this will perform if he had a 2 billion health opponent. And how I would kind of place in the ranking of the teams that I have here, those two teams, is weird. Because yet again, when you fight fights that have no health, you're not going to do much damage. But when you fight fights that have a lot of health, you're going to do a ton of damage with very minimal resources allocated. For this team, you need Nora Snow Globe, on Conflant Sakomen. You need Conflant Sakomen, obviously, you can get that from the League Store, that's going to be easy to acquire. Dr. Fate, you're going to eventually get yourself a Dr. Fate. It's a silver character, not the hardest thing to get, and for a third character you can do whatever you want. I prefer Emerald Green Lantern because he provides me with some power generation, but you're going to be fine with many other things. Something you might not have is the Power Box on Dr. Fate, which is yet again a free artifact you get from killing Dawn of Apocalypse as a soul rates. However, you don't really need that, but you need Nora Snow Globe. If you don't have Nora Snow Globe, he's still gonna do very, very well for you, but he's gonna be so much better after you have Nora Snow Globe. King is another option that you can eventually use with Raven and use as a damage dealer with Dark Malcards whenever your League of Anarchy gets 2 billion without Raven, but until then he's going to be chilling with Nora Snow Globe, dealing a ton of damage. Yet again, this is going to be a lot more harder if you can't combo in Chopped, though it's not the end of the world. You need to, if you can't combo in Chopped, learn the AI movements and AI behavior and try to manipulate the AI and keep your clone alive for as much as possible, which is something I'm also actively doing in fights that I can't combo in Chopped, because I can't combo in Chopped and everything. But this is a fight where it's fine. Make sure you count your third special. Each clone is going to have 3 third specials that you need to use to get the maximum potential out of. And I have a level 6 God Killer on Emerald Green Lantern, so I beef up my HP so I don't struggle from dying too soon. There we go. That's done. The second clone might be problematic for this fight specifically, because if he stuns me, the clone is gonna land on the stun. Yeah, this clone did not do much. This clone did not do much. Unlucky, it happens. Usually what you should set yourself as a goal is to get a bit more than I did. 7 third specials done, because that means you got full base king, a full clone, and a bit of the next clone. And yeah, at this point we're not going to do that much damage, because this team does a lot of damage with a percentage health and doesn't do much outside of that, because you're not really building to do much outside of that. Also, another thing about King is going to be very effective at clearing early soul rates like normal and heroic 1 without even using Nora Snow Globe, because he's got a decently high base damage. And you can't really go wrong with King. He's one of the stronger teams in this video. Wouldn't say the strongest, I think Batman Underground and League of Anarchy, even though none of them really, without Raven, do more damage than he does with Nora Snow Globe, have more potential in theory. But yeah, King is definitely a great team. Make sure you get him. He should be our first damage dealer. And yeah, the last team I want to showcase is a bit of a weird one, because this is not gonna stay like this for long. Currently, Zatanna is bugged, and she does some percentage hull damage, and she gives all the percentage hull damage to all her teammates against burning targets. They're gonna get a lot of damage. Make sure you put Zatanna in the first position, though again, this is not gonna be live for long, most likely. and you're going to be able to deal percentage damage with all of them against burning targets. What I like to do is use the multiverse thing, but it's cheap burning, but you can do with anything. Now, as soon as this thing gets nerfed, you're just going to use the Tana as a support character for the League of Anarchy, maybe, or you're going to use her with other percentage hull damage characters. You just dump in one team everything you randomly have available to yourself. Like you have a Black Adam, throw it in there. You have a Batman who laughs, throw it in there. That what's gonna do? It's not gonna hurt the team. It's only gonna make it stronger. And yeah, how I kind of like to structure my fights, for the most part, is I get the guaranteed one-shots with the League of Anarchy Raven. Then I go ahead and use Deathstroke and deal some percentage hull damage. Then use Batman the Drown to clear that up. Then I use the Zatanna team to deal some percentage hull damage. Then use the Batman Ninja team to try and clear that up. And then use Skinflint Sakomen to deal some more percentage hull damage on something else. And at that point, you're going to be left with one boss killed in normal condition. This video was anything but normal conditions. But yeah, in normal conditions, you're going to get one boss killed with League of Anarchy plus Raven. You're gonna get one boss killed with Deathstroke plus Batwoman the Drowned. You're going to get one boss heavily damaged by Deathstroke. You're gonna get another boss heavily damaged by Deathstroke. By Zatanna team, and you're going to get Batman Ninja team trying to clear up one of them. It's not gonna be enough, but you can use it 2 times the next day, then use Batman the Drowned again, and it just cycles over and over again. And yeah, I'm talking about 2 billion health fights. You're most likely gonna have far better results against lower health fights. By the way, I think we're done here. Yeah, Zatanna's got Puppet of Zatanna, so she can deal her stuff fast. Funny enough, I think this is gonna be the best performing percentage health damage team in the entire game. But yeah, when you're free to play, percentage hull damage is going to be your best friend when you're above Heroic 3. That's what you're going to deal most of the damage with. The healthier the boss, the better for you. And yeah, this video was a bit all over the place because of the bosses that I had available to fight, and I'm sorry for that, but I hope you found this useful. And there's a bunch of other budget themes you could do, like Silver Banshee, Just League theme, and stuff like that, but they're gonna be just a bit worse than the Batman Ninja theme. And for Zatanna, you don't need the gears, you just need her unlocked. Do not rush it too much, but eventually get her. Thanks so much for watching, hope you found this useful, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye!